If you're excited about Doctor Who's upcoming return with the 60th anniversary, then you may be wondering about some of the alien characters appearing in it. For example, in the trailer we see 2 alien species. Well, technically 3 if we count whoever Neil Patrick Harris is playing. Anyway, we'll be focusing on the alien known as Beep The Meep. You see them in the trailer a couple of times, but did you know that they have appeared in Doctor Who before? Today, we'll dive into the Doctor Who universe to explore who Beep is, and how they will wind up in the 60th anniversary special. To learn more about the Doctor Who universe, no matter if you're a new or returning fan, then hit that subscribe button to never miss a video. Comment down below a topic for our next Doctor Who Explained video. In the words of the 10th Doctor, Allons-y! It all began in the DWM comic story, Doctor Who and the Star Beast. Now, we should say, it looks like the Doctor Who 60th anniversary might tell part of this story, this being the Star Beast. So just keep that in mind when we explain who this character is and why they are important. Beep and the other Meeps actually did start life as cuddly, peaceful creatures. Though technologically skilled, they were a calm race that liked to sing and play on their planet in the Rarth galaxy. But tragedy struck when their home planet's orbit changed. In its new path, it came into proximity with the Black Sun, a dark star that emits a special kind of radiation that tends to make species more aggressive, malicious. And for the Meeps, their planet now orbiting the Black Sun changed them for their gentle ways into bloodthirsty conquerors. Among this change, one Meep called Beep rose to power as the Meeps exalted Most High. Leading the rest of the Meeps, they left their homeworld and invaded many planets, plundering, conquering, and executing with no remorse or pity. Due to their onslaught of the Rarth galaxy, the local enforcing Star Council was forced to take action. Taking elements of the 5 strongest races in the galaxy, they constructed the insect-like Rarth warriors to deal with the Meep fighting force. Engaging them in battle, the conflict spread from one planet to the next, with the Rarth and Meep armies fighting intensely. A conflict that would climax with the Battle of Yaras, where the Rarth defeated the armada of the Meep. Though defeated, Beep, as the leader of the armada, knew there would be consequences and fled in his ship. The conflict and bloodshed may have ended, but the Star Council knew Beep would need to be dealt with. And so a warrant was issued by the Star Council to the Rarth warriors to capture the horrific murderous Beep, dead or alive. Attempting to evade capture, Beep would eventually come to the Sol System, where whilst passing Earth, he would be shot down by the Rarth Galactic Law Enforcement Posse. Crashing down in the steel mill of the town Black Castle, Beep would flee his ship, injured and taking shelter within one of the buildings. Determined to plot a way out of capture, no doubt, but losing blood from an injury. He would not have to wait long for an opportunity, as the next day, youngster Sharon Davies and her friend Fudge Higgins would come to the mill. Fudge, an avid reader of sci-fi comics, had convinced his friend to come with him to investigate. And despite her skepticism, they would find Beep hiding in a shed. Taking the chance, Beep used his innocent, cuddly appearance to make Sharon sympathetic towards his injury. Initially pretending to be incapable of speech, Beep would be treated by the pair and then taken back to Fudge's home. Leaving Beep there, they would return to the mill and locate the wreckage of his ship. Beep would be surprised when they return with another individual in tow, the Doctor. Whilst they'd been at the mill, Sharon had been attacked by the Rarth warriors, and the Doctor had helped them escape. As it had turned out, the Doctor had landed on the Rarth's orbiting ship whilst intending to make his way to Spain. With K9 failing to stop them, the Rarth had knocked the Doctor unconscious. Unbeknownst to the Doctor, they had believed him to be a spy for Beep, and had in fact taken the opportunity to operate on him, putting a bomb inside the Doctor that could be detonated once he was close to the Meep. Staging a fake escape, and with some of their operatives stowed aboard the Tardis, the Rarth were ready. Catching a TV broadcast showing the spaceship crash, the Doctor had set off to Black Castle to investigate. There, the Rarth followed the Doctor out of the Tardis and into the steel mill. Having just been introduced to the Meep, the Doctor swiftly realized what had happened and quickly rushed to make himself a lead body vest to block the signal from the bomb detonator. Happy to have survived the attempts of the Rarth to bring about his end, Beep would drop his feigned inability to speak English to personally thank the Doctor. Putting his typical deceptive ways to use, Beep the Meep would then tell the trio a fake story about his past, portraying himself and the other Meeps as victims of the Rarth lying that the Rarth had come to his homeworld and killed everyone else, leaving Beep as the sole remaining survivor. As the night drew in, the Rarth would return to attack Fudge's home. Their infrared eyesight made daylight much less bearable, and having already observed their preference for the dark, the Doctor would put together a device to exploit that. Whilst the Doctor used his device to drive the Rarth back with ultrawhite light, and Sharon attempted to comfort Beep, Beep was secretly thinking about his plans and mulling how best to dispose of Sharon once she was no longer needed. But Beep's arrogance and bloodlust would nonetheless show itself. As a Rarth warrior retreated from the home, Beep would pull out a concealed blaster and fire at them, killing them in cold blood and appalling the Doctor. Hastily, Beep would try to explain this away as being a sudden reaction out of fright. Fleeing the house as the other Rarth destroyed the Doctor's device, the trio would hurry away, as would Fudge's mother. The Doctor, Sharon, and Beep would then make it onto a passing bus to make a getaway. Though Beep would continue to be infuriated by Sharon's attempts to comfort him, the Doctor would seem to be more concerned about Fudge and his mother. Ultimately, he would leave the bus and return to Fudge's home, leaving Sharon and Beep to head towards the steel mill. However, unit soldiers had already arrived on the scene and were keeping the mill staff out while investigating the wreckage. As the Doctor returned to Fudge's home and discovered from the Rarth just what the truth was about Beep, Beep would begin to act on his destructive needs. Pretending to Sharon that he was stunning them, Beep killed several unit soldiers with his blaster and headed back to his ship. Using the miniature black sun that powers the ship, Beep had inventively used its radiation to make the remaining soldiers submissive. With them under his power, they set about repairing the ship. And it wasn't just them. Sharon had also been brought under the power of the Black Sun, but thankfully it only had a mild hold over her. Not needing her, Beep would finally be willing to shoot Sharon. Just after the Doctor told her the truth, he readied his gun and told them that he intended to make a star jump with his ship from ground level to escape, something that would utterly devastate the Earth as it punched through space-time. The Doctor would outsmart Beep, tangling his scarf around Meep's motorized command chair and toppling it, allowing them to flee and hide inside the spaceship. Though they would be captured by the controlled soldiers, the Doctor had been able to effect some modifications to the Meep ship. With the miniature Black Sun activated, only Black Castle was pulled into the resulting black hole, but the Doctor's modifications had allowed the power to be reduced and returned to normal. Beep had made it back into space in his ship, taking Sharon with him, and in the belief that he was now back in the Rarth galaxy, was readying to free the other Meeps and start the bloodshed again. Fortunately, the power reduction had left Beep still in the Sol system just near Earth, and the Rarth warrior ship was quickly able to locate and detain him. The manipulative Meep, determined not to be bested, attempted to feign innocence again, pleading with Sharon as the Rarth prepared to take him away. It did not work a second time, and he was led away to a cell on board the ship whilst the Doctor had the bomb removed and set off on his way with Sharon. The universe was safe from Beep. Before we go any further, let's discuss the 60th anniversary special episodes. While they are not out yet, it's good to have an idea of where they land when trying to understand who Beep the Meep actually is. It's been made clear that Beep the Meep will appear in some form in the Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials. The first special is called The Star Beast, and based on footage from the official BBC trailers, it looks like the first special that features David Tennant and Catherine Tate reprising their Doctor Who roles will recreate this original Doctor Who story. Therefore, it will likely switch up some familiar things. For example, the roles of Sharon and Fudge might be replaced by other characters. We're aware that Yasmin Finney will play the role of Rose and that they discover what appears to be Beep's ship crashed. However, there are also sightings of Rarth warriors engaging unit soldiers and other unit soldiers seemingly under mind control. Unit soldiers can also be seen guarding a spaceship, perhaps the same ship that Beep makes others rebuild under mind control in the original story. We even see Donna Noble discovering Beep in the Eurovision Doctor Who trailers. Here it seems like our cuddly friend is acting very innocent around people. Ultimately imprisoned in the Rarth galaxy, Beep was able to, over time, convince the prison staff that the Black Sun had been the resultant reason for his bloodthirsty behavior. Given White Star therapy and some of his expectable theatrical displays of fake gentleness, he convinced a parole board that he was a reformed individual. Let go by the board, he was returned his laser pistol, his crown, and his keys to the ship. Ready to rebuild his army, he was hit with one snag. The Rarth had wisely removed the Black Star drive from his ship, leaving Beep with one option: to return to Earth to retrieve a secondary Black Star drive he had left behind. Returning to Black Castle, Beep attacked the newly built multiplex, built on the site where the steel mill used to be. By luck, a grown-up Fudge had taken on the multiplex manager job at the cinema, and the doctor, attempting to land at Sharon's wedding, accidentally finds himself there. In Theater 4, Beep finds the doctor watching a Lassie film. As it turns out, the secondary drive is a few meters under the room. Taking the doctor at gunpoint, Beep blows a hole in the floor, making no pretense of his evil goals. Whilst Beep is distracted by the secondary drive, the doctor makes a sneaky getaway. Reunited with Fudge, the doctor rushes to the projector room for Theater 4. Beep activates the initialization for the drive, which will begin a blast of blacklight that would rob the entire planet of their free will. And just in time, the doctor reworks the projector from a transmitter of light into a receiver of blacklight. As a result, Beep and the secondary drive are pulled into the projector and embedded within the film print of the Lassie film. Taking the film, the doctor ponders returning Beep to the Roth prison in his new state. It's hard to quite say exactly in what order events next happened, as the doctor and Beep crossed paths in future stories, but we'll present them as best we can. What is clear is that the film print was delivered to the Roth Institute for safekeeping. Unfortunately, one staff there was rather fond of the films and became rather intrigued by them, having reshaped the film's events from within, breaking the legs of Lassie and making it appear as though he was saving the young lad from the well instead. The staff had become sympathetic to what seemed like a cuddly, friendly creature. Pleading with her to free him and promising they could be together forever, she managed to do so, only for Beep to brutally murder her for treating him affectionately. From there, a later DWM comic called TV Action would show that Beep could obtain a Black Star drive and a ship again. Setting off in the direction of Seoul as he fled Roth traffic police, the Meep was cornered near Saturn's rings just as the Eighth Doctor and his companion Izzy Sinclair were passing by in the Tardis. In a desperate moment, Beep activated a device in the ship called a dimensional transbobulator. Yes, we promise we're not making that name up. With the dimensional transbobulator being used to warp dimensions, Beep's ship and the Tardis were thrown into another universe. Beep had decided to take over the nearby actors and crew using the Black Star unit from it. Mounting it on the fountain outside TV Center, the Meep had begun to amass a new army, and they were able to capture the Doctor. Beep was amused by the Doctor's attempts to identify himself, being unaware of regeneration, and laughed off the idea. Having wired up an outside broadcast van to transmit Black Star energy into all of Britain's TVs, Beep was yet again attempting to use Earth as a starting point of an invasion. And Beep wouldn't let what seemed to him as a silly human interfere. Firing a blast of Black Star energy at the Doctor to take him over, it was left to Izzy to deal with matters. Thankfully, she had discovered that in this universe, Doctor Who was, in fact, an entirely fictional TV show, and could enlist the help of Tom Baker, dressed as the Fourth Doctor. Using Tom Baker as a distraction to keep Beep busy, Izzy was able to rewire the connection between the Black Star drive and the outside broadcast van, wiring it up so that the national power grid would instead overload the Black Star drive, causing it to explode and fire at everyone at the alternative Earth's TV center from Beep's control. Though furious, with no technology left to aid his escape, the Meep was powerless as he was taken for an animal that escaped from the local zoo. Izzy let the local authorities lead Beep away as she helped the Doctor recover from his brief time zombified. TV Action would leave it unclear how Beep would have escaped the authorities of the alternate Earth, or how he, and also the Doctor and Izzy, made it back to their universe. At any rate, they did, and Beep would go on to a further devious plan, in the Big Finish story, The Ratings War. Having ruled out the usual tactics of being bold and unsubtle about his attempts to take over human minds, Beep opted for a different approach. Taking the mind of Roger Lowell, a TV network controller, Beep would spend 6 months reconfiguring the network's output to be focused on reality TV. Beep's new plan was simple: to boost the channel's ratings with reality TV and cuddly animals so that he could then rack up a massive viewing for a TV show competition finale, and use it to implant subliminal messages within the British populace. To his surprise, the Sixth Doctor had come along to confront Roger about the channel's content. Putting the charade with the executive aside, the Doctor and Beep held each other at conversation. The Doctor managed to take Beep's pistol, and Beep, in turn, could leverage the threat of releasing toxic gas into a nearby animal pen that held the animals used for the shows. As the finale of the TV show competition audience shares neared, the Meep gloated about his past. Now that the Doctor was, in fact, the new face before him, he felt comfortable enough to elaborate on his plan, particularly as he knew there was no time or opportunity for the Doctor to leave the executive office and make it to the studio floor to disable Beep's machinery. Things came to a head when the Doctor fired a shot at the control panel for the animal pen and claimed that he'd outsmarted Beep, stating that he had in fact long since disabled the machinery in the studio, and that he had only come to the executive office to keep Beep busy during the pivotal transmission. As the final 2 audience shares contestants took to the studio stage, Beep went down there acting in fake sweet ways. Beep spoke with the finalists and was about to kill them when the 6th Doctor returned. The crowd would hold the Doctor back, and Beep would start firing upon people in the studio before fleeing through the corridors. The Doctor had caught up with the Meep, informing him that he had sabotaged the gun and had barely any power left. Through the use of a paperclip, he'd slowly discharged the energy from it before it had been fired at even the Doctor. Thus, those in the studio were, like the Doctor, unharmed. Infuriated by this news, Beep insisted that he would get away, but the Doctor revealed that he had been bluffing. He had not found and disabled the subliminal messaging device. Thus, Beep's murderous attempts in clear fury had instead been shown to the British public en masse. The conditioning would quickly fade, and the station's security, led now by a shaken Roger, captured him. As Beep angrily ranted, he led away with the Doctor promising that a representative of the Rarth would be in touch soon enough. And so with that, the last of Meep's plans was foiled. The exalted Most High Beep the Meep. Like we said, rather the crafty and deceptive individual, but as is clear, the Doctor certainly always finds a way to handle the murderous Meep rather swiftly. And one can only wonder just how Beep will return in Doctor Who's 60th anniversary later this year. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. If you want to keep up to date on all the latest Doctor Who news, lore, and more, then hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Tardis Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Doctor Who universe. That's it from Tardis Central. I've been Jeremy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. In the words of Beep,